And now we go on to our visual spelling strategy. In one of our larger programs, this is skill number 6. And what we're going to do is we're going to break this down into 10 steps. It sounds complicated, but we're just going to break it down into nice little easy pieces so that this is absolutely easy and doable to learn and to master. And you practice this for, again, a week or two, and you'll find it's very fast. The only thing you can do wrong with this is to try to rush it. We want to relax and focus. Those are the marching orders. Those are the key. That's key to all learning, is you want to be relaxed and focused. So the very first thing we want to do is we're going to take our spelling or vocabulary words, and just to start out, at some point we may find that we don't really need to do this. Older kids, you may use cards or whatever, index cards. But right now what I'd like to do is take an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, ideally something a little heavy, like maybe the 65-pound bond or 67-pound bond. We're going to fold that sheet in half to make a nice long, I hate to use the word flashcard. And we're going to write our word, our spelling and vocabulary word, in 1 to 1.5 inch high letters on this card. For words that are less than 10 letters, we typically use 2 colors, red and blue. We break the word up into syllables. For very short words, 4 and 5 letters, we'll just break them in half. For words greater than 9 letters, 10 or more letters, we may use 3 colors, red, blue, and green. So before the student even looks at this spelling word, we want to use our imagination to make a mental picture of the meaning or the definition of the word. And as we did with the apple, we're looking slightly up and to the left, and we want to visualize what this word means, because memorizing a spelling or word without meaning is really not of much use. And to have information, useless information, floating around in our brain, may or may not be able to retrieve that if it's not connected to something. So it's actually going to facilitate memorization by starting off with the meaning of the word. Now, a very useful trick is to modify that picture in your mind to make it silly, make it funny, make it meaningful, or emotionally relevant, if you will, to your mind. The more ridiculous and absurd you can make your pictures, the easier they're going to be to remember. And we want to get that picture and we want to hold it for 5 to 7 seconds. That's it. No more, just 5 to 7 seconds. Hold that picture steady. And now we're going to hold the card up with this new word slightly up above eye level and slightly to the left. We're going to have the student focus on this card and spell the red letters 2 times. Then have the student close his eyes, and remember, we're only talking about 2 or 3 or maybe 4 letters, but no more. The student closes his eyes and then add the red letters to the image of the word, the meaning of the word, the picture. I usually put the letters below the word, below the image, below the meaning, and have them spell the red letters 2 times. And that should be, for most kids, fairly easy to do. As I said, if they have trouble seeing those letters, if you're noticing squinting or tension, maybe we need to relax, maybe we need to do some work with the alphabet. There may be something else going on there. But for most kids, taking a few of those letters pulling them off of that card and putting them into their imagination is going to be fairly easy. So we're going to focus on the card and spell those red letters 2 times. Close your eyes. Add the red letters to the image of the word and spell the red letters 2 times. We're going to open your eyes, focus on the card, and focus on each of those blue letters. 1 letter at a time. Spell the blue letters twice. Have the student close his eyes. Add the blue letters next to the red letters in the image and spell the blue letters 2 times. And if there's a set of green letters, we'll repeat the step 6 for the green letters. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to say and spell the entire word 2 times. We would like in the beginning, probably the teacher or the coach will say the word and the student will spell the entire word 2 times. But once you get to being on your own, the student will say and spell the entire word 2 times. If the word is not spelled correctly, repeat, go back to steps 5 through 7. If the word is spelled correctly, we're going to have the child do one more thing. This is a pretty cool trick. We're going to have the student spell the word backwards. Now the intention here is for the student to see the spelling of the words, not memorize it as an order, as a sequence of letters. We want to see the word as a picture, and we want to see the meaning of the word and the spelling of the word all together in one nice picture in our imagination. Again, as this is a new thing, for most kids it's going to be a new way of doing things, so take it slow. There's no reason to rush here. This is a very, very fast process. We're talking a few seconds for each syllable, and then in less than a minute or 2 we have this whole new word with the meaning of the word in our imagination memorized. Now, the last important step is we want to review all words, all new information. We want to review it within an hour, a day, and a week. Very, very critical. So we've taken this word that was a bunch of disconnected letters. We've memorized it as a picture. We've given the meaning of this word. We've given the word meaning, and ideally we've given it emotional content by making it silly, funny, or somehow meaningful to our goals and our values. We've then put this word in our imagination with color, with emotion, and the last thing we want to do is repeat this new information in time, right? Practice makes perfect, right? So a good format, an easy format to follow, is once we learn a word, we're going to review that word within an hour. Maybe we start our homework by learning a few spelling words, and we do some reading, some math, and the last thing we do before we close the books on our homework and move on to something else is we review those new spelling and vocabulary words within an hour. This is great because they're fresh in our mind. It's going to be easy to do. And most likely, very, very likely, if you learn something new, you review it within an hour, my guess is the next day it's going to be pretty easy to review that word again and recall that information again. So that's why our very next review is within the next day. Probably the next day, maybe when we start our homework. Maybe the first thing we do when we start our homework is to review the words we learned the next day. And then we add a few more new words. And the last thing we want to do is review that word within 1 week. Could be 3 days, could be 5 days, maybe the night before the test. and we want to review it one more time. So again, we're reviewing this. We're adding time and repetition to this process, and this only takes a few seconds. It takes maybe 10-15 seconds to review a spelling word. So all totaled up, we may be talking about 1.5 to 2 minutes per word. If you've got 10 words or 15 words a week, you know, that's maybe 30 minutes all total, divided up into 3 or 4 days. Because you don't need to do all the words in one day. You can do, say, 5 words a day, 5 new words a day, or 6 or 7 new words a day. Again, one of the most important things is don't rush. Don't rush. Make sure your student is taking the time to look at each letter one at a time and draw those letters, make those letters, shape those letters in his imagination just the way he sees them on the card. And then that fun part, when you spell that word forwards and backwards, that's when I would imagine you're going to feel a sense, the student's going to feel a sense of satisfaction and accomplishment. So with vocabulary memorization, we may put a little more emphasis, a little more focus on the meaning of the word or phrase. Again, we would like to make that image funny, silly, colorful, add some emotional content or something interesting to us personally. We always, when learning something new, we always want to relate new information to something that we already know and understand. And the beauty of this system is that by making a picture of the meaning, you are automatically linking something new to something that you already know and understand. Because who can make a picture out of something that they don't already know and understand? So you must have some concept of something in order to make a picture of it. We want to keep the picture clear, and for some folks, we may start with a more simple picture, possibly even just an outline or a shape, and then add in the details piece by piece. Some folks may do well by having simple pictures and linking them together. This is something you can kind of figure out with a little bit of experimentation. How far away should the picture be for you to really remember it, for you to see it clearly? What colors strike you as being more memorable? Is the picture framed or panoramic? Do you see yourself in the picture? Does that make it more memorable? Are there any sounds associated with the pictures that that make it easier to remember? So there's a lot of little things you can play with as you go along to make those pictures, those images in your mind more memorable, more easier to recall. And finally, you can add in the vocabulary word or even a phrase for certain subjects, so that you can easily see both the meaning of the word, the picture of the word, and the word itself together. Ideally, again, forwards and backwards, just like imagining your car, your house, something that you see around every day. There is no one dimension or one direction or directionality to a picture. It's just a picture, whether you look at it from front to back, from top to bottom, bottom to top, or side to side, left to right, right to left. Okay, so now I want to throw in something else. For foreign languages, most people are taught to attach the foreign word to an English word. And what we've found is that's actually a fairly cumbersome strategy. It's actually fairly slow. So what we recommend is using this visual spelling strategy for foreign languages, where the foreign word, let's say a Spanish word, mesa, let's say the Spanish word for table, mesa, the way I would memorize that is by connecting the word mesa to a picture of a table, perhaps even a messy table, to kind of remind me of how that Spanish word sounds. So I'm going to picture a messy table and imagine beneath it the word mesa, M-E-S-A. And I'm going to make it colorful. I'm going to make it maybe a little bit funny, maybe somebody piling stuff on this messy table. And that's going to make it more memorable and more easier to recall later on. One last piece. I wouldn't try to remember too many words at a time. 5 to 7 words a day for younger children, 10 to 12 for older junior high, high school kids. And always, 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 whenever you learn something new, take advantage of that investment. The time you just spent to learn something new, and review that information within an hour, a day, and a week. I promise you, it will pay huge dividends. So I hope you found this information helpful. Try it out. Try it on for size, and carry it with you. Share it with others. Our goal is always that every child be given the tools they need to succeed in school and life. We have a variety of programs for helping children overcoming challenges, both at school and in life. So for more information, visit our website, Swish for Fish. You can find us on Facebook, Neurolinguistic Learning Center. And here's a short list of some of the programs that we have for reading, writing, spelling, stress reduction, making math easy, counting money, project management. The list goes on and on. We want every child to be successful in school. And we found that with a little bit of coaching and a little bit of help, most children can be successful. So on behalf of myself and folks at the Learning Center here in California, I want to wish you well and remind you that if you've been taught a particular way to learn or to do something and it's not working for you, try a different way. Try a different strategy. Again, our goal is that every child find the resources they need to be successful, not only in school, but in life. Thank you.